Hey everyone, welcome to another Explainer, where we take complex, intimidating subjects and break them down into completely manageable, bite-sized pieces. Today, we're heading straight into the kitchen to tackle an absolute culinary legend. We're looking at a totally game-changing approach to making classic butter chicken right from the comfort of your own home, thanks to a brilliant breakdown by Chef Varun Inamdar from the Bombay Chef. If you're a focused learner who loves great food but kinda hates a messy kitchen, you are going to absolutely love the structure of this recipe.
Okay, let's dive into this. To prove just how simple this culinary journey is going to be, we're breaking it down into clear components. The restaurant favorite reimagined. Component 1, which is the chicken. Component 2, the gravy. The secret to makhani. And finally, the final assembly.
Okay, to kickstart our flavor profile, we need a vibrant, punchy marinade. And the beauty here is really in the simplicity. To our chicken chunks, we're just adding garlic paste, ginger paste, a nice hit of red chili powder for that gorgeous color and gentle heat, and some salt. That's it. It's quick, it's vibrant, and honestly, you probably have most of these sitting in your pantry right now.
So the workflow for this chicken is just wonderfully straightforward. Simply mix those ingredients up and let the chicken marinate for a quick 15 to 20 minutes. No overnight waiting required here. From there, just get some oil medium hot in your pan and fry the chicken pieces until they're almost cooked through. Once they reach that perfect, juicy, mostly done stage, scoop them out, transfer them into a bowl, and just set them aside for later.
Which brings us smoothly to Section 3, Component 2, the gravy.
Now, what's really interesting about this part of the recipe is the concept of using the same pan. Remember our one-pot motif from earlier? Yeah, we are absolutely not washing the pan we just used for the chicken. All those beautiful browned bits on the bottom, the residual spiced oil, that is literally culinary gold. We're using the exact same pan to build our gravy, which guarantees we're capturing maximum flavor right from the jump.
Now, I know this might sound like a pretty robust list, but I promise it's incredibly manageable. We start off with roughly cut onions, a bit of extra oil, and a spoonful of butter. Then we toss in roughly cut tomatoes, cashew nuts, which by the way are totally vital for that signature richness, more garlic paste, and then our flavor balancers. So malt vinegar for tang and a little sugar for sweetness. Finally, we bring the warmth with garam masala, red chili powder, salt, and water. And hey, because we're going to be blending all of this up later, there is zero need for precise, tedious knife work here. Just chop it roughly and toss it in.
Building this gravy base is super simple. Right in that glorious chicken-flavored pan, just lightly sweat the onions. Once they've softened up nicely, dump in the rest of those ingredients we just talked about, along with your water. Then just let the entire mixture simmer away for about 15 to 20 minutes until everything becomes beautifully soft, completely mushy, and ready to be transformed.
All right, Section 4, the secret to makhani.
To truly grasp this next elevated step, we kind of have to look at the name itself. You see, butter chicken is traditionally known as chicken mahani. Now, mahani literally means buttery, but as Chef Varun points out, in a culinary sense, it actually translates to a texture that is absolutely, incredibly velvety smooth. The taste is really only half the equation here. That luxurious, silky mouthfeel, that's what separates the amateurs from the pros. And that precise reason is exactly why we must process our gravy.
So, achieving that velvety smoothness starts by turning off your flame and carefully transferring your mushy gravy into a container. Next, take a hand blender and just aggressively churn this into a fine puree. And here is the absolutely crucial technique. Strain that smooth pulp directly back into your original pan, keeping that one-pot promise alive and well.
And this brilliantly illustrates the chef's precision when it comes to technique. He gives us this specific instruction: press as much as we can so that there's absolute minimal wastage. So when you're straining that puree back into the pan, really work it through the sieve. You want every single drop of that liquid gold. Honestly, by the end of it, the only things left behind in your strainer should be the tough seeds and the tomato skins. Everything else goes right back into the pan.
And here we are at the grand finale, Section 5, the final assembly.
This final assembly stage is just incredibly satisfying. First, gently reheat that strained, silky gravy. Then, it's time to make it truly decadent. You're going to stir in a generous hit of butter, a nice pour of rich cream, those perfectly cooked chicken chunks we set aside earlier, and some crushed kasuri methi for that totally unmistakable, fragrant restaurant aroma. Finally, just let it all simmer together for 5 to 7 minutes. This lets the chicken finish cooking and soak up all that incredible deep flavor.
And just like that, you are ready to serve. Plate it up in a beautiful bowl and add those little finishing touches that instantly trick the eye into thinking it came straight out of a high-end commercial kitchen. Just a vibrant swirl of fresh cream on top and an extra little sprinkle of that kasuri methi. It looks stunning, it smells absolutely divine, and trust me, it tastes exactly like the favorite dish you've been ordering for years.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to wrap up today's explainer. Now that you actually know the one-pot secret, now that you've seen the structured logic behind the quick marinade, the blended gravy, and the precise assembly, what is actually stopping you from canceling your takeout order tonight? Seriously, you've got the knowledge, you've got the structure, and best of all, you literally only have one pan to clean. Get into the kitchen, try it out, and take control of your cravings. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and hey, happy cooking!